in this video I'm going to be taking a look back over the past 18 years here on YouTube and sharing my journey so far and some plans for the future too. So before we take a look at my first video from 2007, I found something really exciting, which is also the reason why I started making videos in the first place. And I've actually got it right here, and this is why I fell in love with making videos. Look at this mess of cables that comes with it, and the way this worked was that you basically plug this SCART adapter here into the back of a VCR, and then actually record directly onto a videotape that was plugged into the TV. I went into the loft and found all of my original videotapes that we've actually recorded using this camera.
It's a bit like that world one that he did, doesn't it?
And I haven't got around to digitising all of them just yet, but it was so cool to actually see my first proper experience with making videos. And honestly, it's all thanks to this videotape that I started enjoying actually making videos and thinking about how to edit and things, and it's hilarious to see these days. Unfortunately, it's really degraded in quality, but yeah, this was my beginning of my love of making videos. And when I got my first personal computer in 2007, of course, one of the first things I wanted to do was to try and make videos, and there was a new website at the time called YouTube, which seemed like the perfect place to upload them. So I played around with Movie Maker on my Windows Vista laptop, which I got at the time for college, and I was really excited for the launch of Super Mario Galaxy. So the first video I ever did was a video anticipating the launch, and it was just a bunch of random videos and screenshots all mushed into Movie Maker with loads of crazy effects going on, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I had fun making it. So that was my first video that I ever uploaded, and I never really expected the channel to go anywhere. I didn't really have any plans for YouTube at the time. I was literally just throwing whatever I felt was interesting at YouTube, just as a way of uploading them somewhere, I guess, so that potentially people might be able to see them. And I got a few comments coming in. Most people were just complaining that I didn't use a script or I was a rip-off of the AVGN. So there was a series back then that me and my friend Jack made called The Angry Schmergle Nerd, and yeah, we had no idea what we were doing, but we made these kind of weird takes on the AVGN style of video where we'd pick some random games in my collection and play them and complain about how bad they were. The first video that I was actually proud of at the time was my Nights into Dreams videos, and I made two videos, one for the Sega Saturn game and one for the Wii game.
Hello, this is Nintendo, and today we'll be doing a double review of Nights into Dreams for the Sega Saturn and Night's Journey of Dreams for the Wii.
And looking back on them now, it's clear that I had no idea what I was doing, but at the time, that was like the first time that I'd properly put some thought into editing, and I'm still really proud of how these videos came out, despite the fact that they're barely even watchable today. And a lot of these videos that I made in the early days of the channel were actually made during my days off from college. So sometimes I would only be in college for like 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days I would be at home on my own, and I decided to spend that time making all of these videos, and I pumped out so much stuff that I was really happy with at the time, like my SSX retrospective, top 10 DS games, and that video did fairly well, and it was these kind of videos that kind of kept me motivated to make more, and I started getting some more people interested in the channel. And this era kind of culminated in my 100 subscribers special, where I actually listed off 100 of my favourite games.
For the first part of this video, I'm going to be showing you my top 100 games of all time. Here we go! Mario Land 2, Rayman 2, The Great Escape, Pikmin 2, Super Multi-Ball.
And I remember just being absolutely over the moon that I'd managed to hit 100 subscribers. I never even thought that would be a possibility, so I was so excited to make that video, and I was so excited for the future as well. So now let's take a look at the second generation of my channel, which spans roughly from 2009 and when I started uni up until about 2014 when I finished. And unfortunately I haven't got the original camera that I started making videos with. It was like a little silver flip out screen camera, but I do have the second one, and it is this right here. This is the Sanyo Zacti, my first HD camera, and to celebrate I uploaded a video that Christmas called Christmas Special in HD, and I didn't get the export settings right and the video is not in HD.
Now as this is a Christmas special, I think it should be a bit more festive. That's better.
And it's also not in widescreen, despite me stating that as well. But I was really excited to get this new camera, and I definitely put it to good use over the next few years. So a very important video from soon after I got this camera was my top 15 DS games video. It was a follow-up to the top 10 that I'd made a few years previously, and this video just exploded for me unlike anything else before it, and for the longest time it was my most watched video on the channel. And that also kind of helped me solidify the direction that I wanted to take the channel as well, but I didn't also want to be stuck in the trap of just making top games videos, so I was still doing a lot of experiments during this era. And around this time as well, I actually moved away from home to go to uni for the first time, and I didn't really spend that much time making videos over the next few years. I was too busy with so many other things going on in life as well, from hanging out with friends and obviously doing a lot of work for uni as well. And yes, I did do a lot of work. I wasn't just dossing around all the time, but it did mean that YouTube kind of took a back seat, and I was also getting really frustrated with using Windows Movie Maker. I remember having so much trouble trying to get some of my Gamescom vlogs out just because there was so much footage and there was no way that it could handle it. So I ended up moving over to Premiere, I think, at the time, and that did me fairly well for a few more years, but it was still quite a struggle to get anything good out during this time. And for some reason I was just really self-conscious about people hearing me talking to the camera. These days it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, my fiance is just out there and she can hear me talking just fine and it doesn't faze me at all, but back then I was nowhere near as confident as I am now, and I really think that hurt the channel. So these days I really wish if there was one thing I could change, it was to try and overcome some of those personal boundaries that stopped me making as many videos as I would have liked, because some of the videos that I did make back then I'm still really proud of. I also ended up using the channel as a kind of dumping ground for all of my various different uni projects around this time as well, which probably put off a lot of long-term subscribers too. But at the same time I still didn't really have a direction that I wanted to take the channel. So then in 2014 I graduated from university and I moved back in with my mum and dad, and one of the things that I wanted to do was try and focus on my YouTube channel and try and grow it into something more. I was kind of stuck in life at that point because I'd come back from uni, I'd lost all of my friends that I'd built up over the past 4 years. They'd all sort of scattered across the country. I didn't have anyone to talk about games with, so YouTube in a way at this time was kind of my outlet for being able to talk about the things that I love when there was no one around me physically that could listen to me. Basically, there was no one around me that I could talk about this kind of stuff with, and I really put a lot of effort into trying to grow the channel. And I also really enjoyed around this time learning a lot more about cameras, about video editing techniques, and around this time as well, in 2015 I think, I actually switched from Windows to Mac and I learned how to use Final Cut Pro, and that was a massive boost to my productivity, and it's still what I use to this day. And although I really hated my job at the time and I was kind of depressed in a way, there was one silver lining, and that's the fact that for the first time ever I actually had adult money. So instead of relying on, at the time, about a 7-year-old HD camera from the mid-2000s that barely functioned at this point, I could actually buy myself my first proper video camera using my own money, and the camera that I ended up getting was the Sony RX100 Mark II, and eventually upgrading that to the Mark III as well. And I remember being absolutely obsessed with the thought of buying this camera and just dreaming of the day when I'd be able to get it for myself. I also bought my first proper microphone around this time as well, and the mix of better visuals and better audio and better editing software really elevated the channel to the next level, and I'm really proud of a lot of the videos that I made around this time too. The one that I put the most effort into by far was my Retron 5 video, where I talked about all of the different features of the system, and I remember planning this one out for months in advance. I also tried my hand at doing some more Let's Plays as well, and there was one that I did of Super Mario 1 that really took off in the algorithm for some reason.
Hello, Nintendo Wii here. Welcome to my Let's Play of Super Mario 1.
And for some stupid reason, I decided that that was the direction I was going to take my channel after that, so I ended up rebranding from Nintendo Wii, which was the original name, to Let's Play Retro Games.
You might have noticed that I've changed my channel. It's no longer called Nintendo Wii. I'm renaming it to Let's Play Retro Games, which I think makes a lot more sense. It's exactly what I do on this channel, so I hope you like the new name.
That was a mistake. I mean, I barely did any Let's Plays after that, and the ones that I did do did not take off like the Super Mario one, and I regretted that name for a long time, and it wasn't until 2019 that I would finally rebrand to what you know and love today, which is RetroBreak. But before we move on to the RetroBreak stuff, there's one other thing that I tried experimenting with in this generation, and that was actually the first time where I properly decided to try and do weekly uploads. And I didn't quite keep up with the schedule, but I did end up doing about 30 something of these videos pretty much week to week, and it was called Retro Game a Week, and it was a big series where I would play a different game every single week, and I would record the gameplay and then talk about my experiences with the game. But I just really struggled trying to keep up that schedule, so in the end I ended up dropping the series, but I'm still happy with the results, and I feel like putting that much time and effort, like literally every single day after work, that's all I would do, but putting in that effort really helped to improve everything in my video production pipeline. And they're still awful, but if you look back even 5 years earlier to the progress that I'd made, it is really impressive, and it just goes to show that practice makes perfect. Even though it doesn't feel like you're making any progress at the time, stick with it and you will see the results. I also feel like I was kind of using YouTube and video making as an escape from trying to get into adult life. I was really struggling at the time, I think, and I think YouTube was kind of like my after work therapy sessions where I could just focus 100% on something that I cared about instead of doing finance exams and building things to help people with their pensions. Like, I had no interest in that stuff whatsoever, so YouTube was honestly the one thing that was saving me from going insane after finishing uni. And I was also kind of upset that I didn't go into game design, which is what I'd been studying for at uni as well, and talking about games was the next best thing, honestly. And then 3 years later, in 2017, I finally moved into my own place with my girlfriend, and we had a flat together, and this is when my channel really began to take off. So I really put all of my focus into making weekly videos once again. It was still under the Let's Play Retro Games banner, and I still wasn't doing actual Let's Plays. I did experiment a little bit with gameplay videos, but they never really worked as well as this more like casual talking in front of the camera and showing off my pickups and my favourite games and things like that. So the year after, in 2018, that's when I decided I was going to rebrand the channel to RetroBreak. And from then on, it's just been constant growth and constant support from this amazing community that have watched me every single week for almost the past 10 years now, which is insane. This generation is kind of where I feel like the channel direction really solidified, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do every week. Hello, welcome back to RetroBreak. So we're here today at Play Expo Manchester. And the first major video that I did on the RetroBreak was my Tetsuya Mizuguchi retrospective, and I still really loved the entire process of doing that, and I really want to make more retrospectives in the future because that is still the one video, probably more than any of the others, that I'm the most proud of. There was still a lot I didn't know in terms of presenting and in terms of like microphone settings and things, and it is kind of difficult to watch, but that whole process was just absolutely fantastic for me in every regard, like making the video, doing the script, collecting all the games in order to do the video, recording the video footage, everything about that I absolutely loved, and I thought this is what I want to do with the channel. But at the same time, I was also still trying to do weekly videos, so those bigger videos kind of became further and further apart as the years went by, and I was really frustrated that I didn't have the time to dedicate to these bigger, more personal projects that I really enjoyed making. It was around this time as well that I did a video about Game Boy Homebrew, and that one took off, and I've done loads of videos about Game Boy Homebrew since then, but I was also a little bit worried about my channel getting forced into one certain direction that maybe I didn't exactly want to go down, so I was always really careful about trying not to pigeonhole myself into one specific kind of content, because I know a few people that have done that and they've been kind of disappointed that they can't then make the videos they actually want to make because they're forced to just do one certain thing to please the algorithm or to please their audience. So So I feel like I'm kind of fortunate that I managed to figure out how to navigate that situation and ended up with a broad range of videos and an audience that seems to enjoy all the different types of content that I put out as well. So I'm really glad that I didn't kind of get pigeonholed into just doing one thing and focusing entirely on that, because I don't think I would have grown, at least personally, in the same way that I have, having all of these different projects going on at the same time. And then the pandemic hit, but I'd just come back from Japan, so a lot of the videos that followed that year were actually all of my Japan pickups videos, and I really enjoyed making them. And I also started focusing on some other big videos as well, like my Trackmania retrospective. Also in this era, I decided to put some more money together and upgrade my camera to my first 4K camera, and it's this one here. This is the Sony a6400, and I absolutely loved this at the time. I bought some extra lenses for it, and the quality improvement between this and the 1080p RX100 was just night and day, and I was so happy. And that was one of the other things that I was really enjoying around this time. That was doing a lot of research into what makes good videos, like lighting, like audio, like editing techniques and presenting techniques as well. And I had a great time doing all of that research and really improving the output around here as well. Once I learned things, eventually they became second nature, and it all sort of carried forward and built into this kind of snowball effect into where we are today. And I really felt like I had some really good momentum around this time as well, and I managed to hit 10,000 subscribers, which again is another milestone that I never thought I would even get close to hitting. So when that came and went, I really felt like there was some great momentum with the channel, and I should really keep trying to focus on growing it. And honestly, I've had an amazing time doing so since then. But unfortunately, this era, this generation, kind of ends on a sad note. So my nan passed away in 2022, and basically I decided to buy the house that she used to live in, which is the house that we're in right now. I have so many incredible childhood memories of being in this house, playing loads of games here, just having an absolute fantastic time. And I made some videos about that at the time, and I definitely recommend watching them because it gives you a really good insight into where I was at the time and what I wanted to do with the room, which is pretty much basically what I ended up doing, and I'm really happy with the end result. But yeah, that brings us on to the final generation up until today, and that is Generation 5 from 2022 until now.
But I can see a future that's brighter.
So once I moved in here and got everything set up properly, I decided to really focus on what I could do to grow the channel to where it is today. So you've probably seen what I did. I did a lot more retrospectives, I did a lot more top games and hidden gems videos, and basically did everything right as far as I could tell, and it seems to have worked out pretty well. But at the same time, I was still kind of running into the same issues I had before, where I was trying to do weekly videos, and I have done since I moved in. I think I've missed 2 weeks where I was ill, but that's literally it across the entire past 8 years now. I've only missed like 2 or 3 weekly uploads. But the problem with that is some of these bigger videos I kept having to push back and back and back in order to try and keep up this weekly upload schedule. What I wanted to say at the end of this, and kind of looking into the future, I'm actually going to stop doing these weekly videos from now on, and instead I'm going to focus exclusively on videos that I want to make, not particularly ones that will please the algorithm. And I don't know if this is a good decision or a bad decision, but I feel like this is one that I have to make for myself at this moment in time if I want to be proud of the output, because I do feel like I end up rushing the videos every single week, and I feel like there's so much more that I could give if I just put in a little bit more time and a little bit more patience into writing the script and editing and all of that. So honestly, from next year, expect some massive improvements to the channel. I really hope you enjoyed taking a look at this history with me, and I really hope you're looking forward to the future, because I can't wait to get started. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all again at some point in the future. Goodbye.